This is Tony Chimmel, and I'd like to introduce the hosts of the Game Marks podcast, George Feis and Johnny Clash.
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast, where each and every week we take a deep dive into the good, the bad, and the awesome of all things wrestling video games. My name is George Feis.
And I'm the man they call Johnny Clash, and today we are playing Fire Pro Wrestling Combination Tag.
And as always, please make sure to subscribe and leave a 5-star review and a rating for this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you choose to listen. And follow us on all forms of social media at Game Marks Pod. Johnny Clash.
Yo.
We are down to the final few episodes here. But before we get into the first Fire Pro Wrestling game, we got to talk about WWE 2K15. How are you feeling? I'm sure that the game is sitting right next to you. How are we doing 2 weeks out?
Technically, it's next to me, but it's in the 2K18 case because it only came in a little paper sleeve. So we doubled up. We doubled up. But I think I stick with my future endeavor. It was a clunky game. I remember that era very vividly of just being like, this isn't that great. I don't know if I want to play this. But we fixed it. We have a good game now. We have a good foundation for things to come. I think it was a good, I guess, from 14 to this, it was a good starting point of the 2K series, and they only built from there. So it is what it is. I'm probably never going to play it again. I might put it back on eBay. Who knows?
Now, say you go from, and we talked about this in the episode, to go from 2K15 and to see how the game has progressed over the years. I mean, there's a little dip with 2K20. We talked about that, but things have looked very, very good in the last couple of years. And I know, we'll do a cheap little plug here for Clash Tube Wrestling and Monday Meltdown here, but everything that you were putting together in 2K25 looks great, and highly recommend that if you're looking for some 2K25 playthrough, you go check out youtube.com/Johnny Clash and check out Clash Tube Wrestling.
Oh, thank you very much.
Of course.
No, the game is honestly addicting. I don't think the past 2 years from GMP 24 to this, I don't think I've had this much fun playing a wrestling game since maybe 2K19. So
that's great. That's good to hear. And I agree. Like the games, the last couple of years have just felt, I don't know. It feels like we're kind of back to like the golden era, or like we're in a new golden era of quality wrestling games with, there's a few bugs. There's maybe some features that people would either add or remove.
They're always going to complain no matter what.
I think it's just we're at a good spot though.
Yeah. I would love to see who the DLC is going to be for the celebrity that they never put in. The speculation was it might be Travis Scott, and then he wanted more money or something.
I've seen some names names bouncing around, and I'm very curious to see. I mean, who knows? It could, if the track record for this podcast is any good, and what we have established here, we will talk about it now. By the time this episode releases, they'll have already announced it, and will be outdated by in the couple of days that it'll take for this to come out.
How crazy is this? In the year of 2025, we could do AJ Styles and Abyss versus the Motor City Machine Guns in a WWE game where none of the wrestlers are created.
That is a sentence that I have not fully put together in my brain that is a possibility, but wow.
You bet your ass as soon as Abyss is released, that is exactly what I'm doing.
That's a wild thought. It's a very cool thought.
And they added Abyss to Supercard already. So I don't know if I mean, we know he works there. He's a producer or whatever.
Yeah.
We know, I don't think he owns the license to Abyss.
No,
it's
but
a TNA.
Appears to be some partnership that's been going on for the last.
I mean, we all heard the rumors it was supposed to be I think the Royal Rumble a few years ago, Abyss was supposed to make an appearance with the music and all, but it never happened. So I don't know. Doors open, man. We are living in a crazy time of wrestling. Think of all WWE has: CMLL, or no, it's not CMLL. What is
AAA.
it? AAA. That's this weekend. And NXT, Worlds Collide. Man, TNA, and I think there was a small teaser on Instagram the other day where The Rock was wearing a New Japan shirt. And
Interesting.
it might just be pure, honestly, speculation. Like The Rock literally just sitting there wearing a New Japan shirt. But,
yeah, it's
I mean,
possible.
He's a higher up there at the TKO, so who knows?
With all these crossovers and all of these new relationships, it is definitely an interesting time to be a wrestling fan and to play wrestling video games. There's a lot happening here.
Yeah, and you never know what else we're gonna get. Like there's maybe next 2K game, TNA will be featured in it, which would be sick.
That's insane.
Imagine like we get the lockdown. I don't know. I'm just dreaming as a TNA fan here. But speaking of also dreaming as a TNA fan, I worked, which you hear my voice is a little raspy, Creative Pro Wrestling last week, and I did commentary for a Jeff Jarrett match, something I never thought I'd do in my life. To sit at the announce table and hear the doo-doo-doo-doo, that was just like fever dream. I lived something that night. To watch CPA sing With My Baby Tonight with Jeff Jarrett, I felt like, I don't know, something was happening inside of me. It was so cool. I loved every second of it. It was awesome, man.
That's awesome. That's one of those pinch me moments.
Yeah, I'm like, holy shit.
Bucket
like
list for sure.
Like years ago when I worked an Impact show and Jeff Jarrett handed me a paycheck, I was like, this is awesome. But to actually sit there and do like commentary for his match and like mark out and be like, he hit the stroke and all that, it was so cool. So cool. And great. He was super nice too.
That's awesome. That's good to hear.
July 25th. Come out to Lynbrook, New York.
There you go. All right. Well, with that, John, are you ready to get into the deep dive for Fire Pro Wrestling Combination Tag?
Let's do it.
Guys, if you want your beard to be soft and smell great, then you need Mad Cat Beard Care. Their products are all natural and made to order with vitamins and natural oils to moisturize your skin and to help make your beard healthy and strong.
Our exclusive scent, Play It Forever, is a blood orange, black clove, and vanilla scented beard balm or beard oil that can make your beard have a rich but not overpowering scent. Plus, a portion from their sales go towards finding care for stray cats, covering their medical bills and finding them safe places and forever homes.
Use code GameMarks to save yourself 15% when you place an order over at madcatbeardcare.com. That's 15% off with code GameMarks. And remember, the Mad Cat makes a happy beard. All right. Fire Pro Wrestling Combination Tag released June 22nd, 1989 for the TurboGrafx 16 and released on the Wii Virtual Console March 13th, 2007, developed and published by Human Entertainment and other games in the wrestling sphere. In 1989, you've got WCW Wrestling, WWF WrestleMania, WWF Superstars, Sergeant Slaughter's Mat Wars, and Champion Wrestler.
So this is what I said during the playthrough. When you're looking at this game, Fire Pro Wrestling, 1989, the next one doesn't come out till 91, which is second bout. It looks, as we know, Fire Pro Wrestling to look all the way up until, they made the upgrades on the later consoles and it started to look even better. And it still has that little bit of cartooniness to it, but look what's out at the time. Look at WrestleMania for the NES. I have WrestleMania NES. It's not the best looking game. It's got the black background.
No, the expectations for what games look like were low.
Yeah, the crowd is eh. And then you look at WCW wrestling on the NES. I mean, these could just be limitations to the NES. I mean, Sergeant Slaughter's Mat Wars, this is on the TurboGrafx. It looked amazing. It looked like a game that should have came out for the Super Nintendo later on. Like, it's on par with the Fire Pros of later. Of course, the controls aren't there yet. There's some things to work out. this is literally the first ever Fire Pro Wrestling game, and ironically, the last ever Fire Pro Wrestling game that we're ever going to play. So, a little poetic there. Crazy to say out loud. We have played
almost all of them. Not quite
ton.
all of them, but almost.
Yeah,
but
wild. But how far
you're absolutely right. The TurboGrafx 16 and the Commodore.
Yeah,
a lot of you could tell the difference in I mean, obviously in presentation, but the graphic style, the processing power of the consoles compared to the NES. Now, obviously, if you're comparing something to the arcade, that's a little different. But even then, still not that bad.
No, definitely not that bad. But this game was one of a kind. It was the first to come out for the Fire Pro Wrestling series on a console that we don't really know much about, but we've played a few games on so far. It has 16 wrestlers. You can go 1-on-1, tag team, or a 5-on-5 elimination match. And that's really it. You don't get the tournaments. You don't get the creative that you get today in Fire Pro Wrestling games. Those came way later on. This is the first wrestling game to feature blood ever, which is kind of crazy.
That's wild.
And it's not just blood, it's brutal. Like, there are some moves where you could stab with the fork or choke the guy or something, and blood just spews out and it stays on your body the rest of the
it was a lot. It was it was I didn't expect it. I didn't know going into it that was in the game. And yeah, it's like you said, the moves that happen and the resulting blood on your wrestler is it's jarring. Very sudden, out of nowhere.
And we were used to Fire Pro Wrestling having the breathing, regaining your stamina, the taunts.
No rest recovery mechanic here.
None of that was there just yet. I mean, you're pretty much just getting 4 moves that you use the directional pads and 1 button. And then you get a Irish whip and run and all that. And that's really it. But you can still go out of the ring. You can still climb up to the top rope. The fundamentals of Fire Pro are absolutely there. And
100%.
for two guys, we've played countless Fire Pro Wrestling games. We loaded up, we went right in, we were able to figure it out right away. We did everything you could do, and we had a lot of fun playing it.
There's a period, and I think we've addressed it like game per game as we've gone through the Fire Pro series. But there's a point where there's the tie-up and then the dip, which is what this game has, where you do your collar and elbow tie-up, and then both of the wrestlers kind of do a little like half squat kind of thing, and that's your trigger to go and hit your button combination. Down the line, that mechanic doesn't necessarily go away, but it evolves to a point where now, as the series progresses, there's more people that are playing it, people are more familiar with the mechanics of the game. It more becomes about the timing. Like, you do the lockup, then you wait a beat, and then you hit the button.
Yeah. I think I like this one better because it's visual, but obviously it's just too time consuming for anyone to want to play now. But I like what it evolved to, but I also like this version also. It's
definitely a good, like, this mechanic or this style of the Fire Pro grappling mechanic is a good introduction to help with the Fire Pro timing and
well, think of like
we should have started
Royal
with this
Rumble.
when we started playing them. You probably would have liked them a lot more earlier on.
I don't know, maybe. But that is one of my main complaints when I first started playing these games. But just think of like Raw and Royal Rumble, how awful that grappling system is. Like, this is so simple. It's just timing based. You bend the knees and you go.
Yeah.
And I still remember the first game we had to play that featured this bending the knees, and we were so lost. We were so confused. But now, I mean,
because we're conditioned to the current version of the Fire Pro mechanic. So it's like you do the tie up, you count to 1, and then you go. This is you do the tie up. It's like 1, 2, then the dip happens. So like, if you're more familiar with the updated or more current version of it, then you're like, this timing is weird. And I remember we were doing our playthrough of the game, and we're just like, what are we missing here? What is going on? And then we had to hop on the old Google machine and be like, you'll see your wrestlers will do like a little dip or a squat. And we're like, okay, now that we understand that explains a lot.
Yeah, it was a learning curve. It was a learning curve. But let's go through this roster here. There's only 16. I guess we'll read
the real name.
Yeah, we'll read the real names, and there's one NPC in here also. So
you want to take it?
Yeah, I'll take it. You know what? It's the last Fire Pro Wrestling game. It's the last time I'm going to read some of these names.
That's true. I'll
do it. You've got Akira Maeda, Antonio Inoki, Bad News Brown, Barry Gasper, Billy Gasper, Bruiser Brody, Dos Caras, Junichiro Tenryu, Jumbo Saruda, Carl Gotch, who is the NPC, Luthez, who's also an NPC, Masa Saito, Mil Mascaras, Ricky Choshu, Road Warrior Animal, Road Warrior Hawk, Stan Hansen, and Tiger Jeet Singh. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Johnny Clash signing off on reading Fire Pro Wrestling rosters forever. Maybe that's what I should make, like a Cameo account where all I do is read Fire Pro Wrestling names. $5. You guys could have whatever you want.
The Clash Pro Clash Tube Wrestling. That's your Patreon.
Imagine. That would be something.
It's a full there's your Patreon show. It's a full WWE 2K25 playthrough with a recreated Fire Pro roster.
Oh God, no. I'm good. That's a lot of creating.
I was gonna say that's a lot of I don't even know if you could do it with the amount of items that they let you download, like images and stuff. You may hit the limit quick.
That's wild. I was looking at I was commending the account I've mentioned here before, the YouTube and Twitch account JG603, who does his, I guess, similar like YouTube show with it's not really universe mode because he does full, like today's show, he did Money in the Bank. It was a 4-hour show. There was like 17 matches. They were all 10 minutes each, but he doesn't use real wrestlers. He only uses, like, people in the Twitch chat can do a channel redemption to make their own character.
Oh, that's cool.
So the entire roster is just viewers. It's kind of crazy. And they submit their own promos of them like talking and stuff. It's really cool. It's a great idea.
That is a very interesting concept.
It must take so long for him to put together every time he does this. I think it's every Thursday on Twitch, but wild. It's so good.
Huh. Check that out. I've checked it out before when you mentioned, but I don't think we've talked about that aspect of it with you can redeem channel points for creating our own wrestler. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm not there yet, but we'll get there. I'm learning the characters still. I'm learning the competition.
All right.
There's a Johnny Collapse in there, and we're like, should we do something or what?
It's your tag team. Oh, God. All right. Well, you want to take a quick break, and then we can get into the cover artwork and the art style of the game itself.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, this cover is a tried and true wrestling cover from the 80s. It is the very hand-drawn art style. You've got, I mean, you definitely know it's some sort of fighting. That's
looks like
for
Tarzan.
sure. What? In the background?
No, the guy
doing
just the enziguri.
Yeah. It is, I don't know. It's just the style that we have come to know and expect from the early 80s or the 80s and early 90s wrestling games that have these hand-painted, hand-drawn style. It holds up with the rest of them. It's some that are really good. There are some that are really bad. I don't mind this one. I think it's pretty cool.
No, I mean, the only thing I think it's missing is the flaming Fire Pro Wrestling that we know and love, but this is the first one. I could see why they would go a different route here. I mean, it is in the name, though. Maybe
you don't need it, yeah.
Or maybe you did need it if it was the first one, but like we say, it looks like wrestling. That's all you need. These guys look like action figures. They look great. It's a nice, I wouldn't even say watercolor. I don't know what art style this is, but it's really cool.
I think it's just paint. It looks like it's just like a painted canvas.
Yeah, and then the inside, you have the cartridge for the TurboGrafx, which I don't think I've ever seen before. But it's a little interesting. It's like a just a cartridge. I don't know. It's like
Yeah.
flat almost
With
the artwork on it.
Yeah, it looks like a large SD
A
card.
large SD card. Like it could go in a Switch if it was enlarged or shrunk.
I want to see it in.
Hey, are you getting a Switch too?
I don't know. I like the idea of it. I have to see. Like we've talked
What's
about
there?
It. No, we've talked about it. I'm kind of out of the day one of buying consoles and games. Like I like to wait a little bit and see what happens and things like that.
I don't think there's anything pulling me into it. I don't like those like Mario Party, Mario Kart. Like I can't sit there and play those unless I'm with other people, and chances are I won't be.
You can play it online though.
I'm probably not going to do that. I'm probably going to play other games online. Like we just played through Split Fiction. We're going to do It Takes Two. We've got Tiny Tina's Wonder World, whatever the hell it's called, Wonderland.
Oh, you're playing a Borderlands game.
Yeah, first one I've ever played. First one I've ever played. I don't know.
That's cool. I think that you're going to like it.
Well, let's see. But I just don't. I already saw people scalping Switch 2s on Facebook Market for $900, and they're readily available. Like this isn't the PS5
crazy.
where they're gone. So you could just go probably get one next week, and you'll be okay. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. I just don't see the need. Like, what am I going to do? Play Fortnite? It's back on the App Store. It's mobile. I already got my mobile win. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know.
How crazy. We could play Fortnite from the toilet now. I literally got a win right before wiping my ass.
That is...
Don't tell me to cut that out. I'm leaving it in.
That is... No, I almost think that you need to make that a Twitch shirt. like this victory royale brought to you by...
Honestly, it was... I felt bad because clearly everyone was playing mobile and I had the backbone and everything, and I was ripping that lobby apart. All right, we're one and done. We're good here. I don't need to play this again.
Good Lord.
Anyway, the graphics.
It does look like the TurboGrafx cartridges are kind of large. Maybe like this, like the palm of your hand.
Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, I guess that's on par with the rest of them at the time.
Yeah, it's a version of a floppy disk.
Yeah, they're very flat.
Yeah.
They're kind of cool looking.
It is just like a really big SD card.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I feel like I'd have to hold those out like Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like, whoo.
Well, the picture I'm looking at, there is a person it's actually like fanning them out like they're playing cards. But it's cool. It's I also don't think that I've ever seen one in person. I think I've looked them up over the course of the podcast because we've done a couple of games on the TurboGrafx. But yeah, I don't think we've ever done a lengthy conversation on the cartridge itself. And they're cool. Yeah. Like you said, it's a unique presentation, and it is its own version of what you would expect from like a standard cartridge. But the amount of space gives you a little bit more room to have the artwork on it. That's kind of cool.
See, that's something I wish we would have done in the past 5.5 years, was break down consoles. Like, not, N64. We know all those. Like, do like unique ones like this.
Well, that's why I really I made a point early on in the first couple of years of the podcast to play the couple of Neo Geo games, or the one Neo Geo game. I'm very sad that we won't be able to play what console, John?
Oh, wait.
Fire
Wonder
Pro,
Swan?
The one, yes, there's that. And there's the other one. In Mobage. The Wonder Swan.
We weren't able to play that one anyway.
In Mobage, no.
We've made some crazy games happen. I don't think we'd ever make that one happen. That was like resurrecting MySpace.
We would have figured it out, I'm sure. There was also, what's the WWE Activity Rumblers, right?
Oh, yeah.
That was going to be a hard one to try to find, too. But we probably...
Those kind of games we still could have covered, but we wouldn't have had like the full in-depth of it.
Yeah, it would have been hard to play. Yeah. But we could have covered it. But, hey, let's dive back into Fire Pro combination tag here. And let's talk about the art style, because like we said early on in the episode, presentation's good. Crowd, there's animation in the crowd, there's camera flashing when you jump off the top rope, or you do one of those big moves like John was saying, where you take out a fork or whatever. The art style of the actual the sprite renders for the wrestlers themselves, very, very cool, highly detailed. And again, to the point that John made earlier, the comparison between what you're getting on regular consoles versus what you're seeing here on the TurboGrafx, fully, detailed crowd. It's not just on a...
And even the announcers are in the crowd.
Yeah.
And they're animated as well.
A lot of
doing
little
their
details
thing
here that, do a lot of heavy lifting here. The ring, it's that 3/4 angle, which we've said we're not huge fans of, but the axis on which the character moves, or actually the lack of, you basically have like a free roam. You're not limited in how your character moves, does make a big, big difference in how you play the game.
Yeah, and that's not in the WWF or the WCW game that's out. We don't get that till, what was it, Super Brawl, right, for WCW games?
Where
so this is really the first of its kind.
Yeah, this is very... this was not the experience that I expected to have playing. When you think about, I'm going to be playing the first Fire Pro Wrestling game, I was pleasantly surprised by the presentation of it. And I will say I was a little hesitant when I saw the title screen.
Yeah.
Because the title screen, just black background, single match, tag match, 5v5. And I was like, oh man, I really hope that this isn't, you get into the mindset or the expectation, like this is going to look just like everything else that came out in this era of gaming. And then right off the bat on the next screen where you're selecting, or not the next screen, when you're picking your wrestlers, you can see the level of details that went into the sprite.
Yeah. I'm looking here. We always forget the name of the 3D Fire Pro Wrestling game, but it was
Iron Slam 95.
Iron Slam. That one was so bad. And then think, like, they could have just stayed with this, which they did for the most part. I mean, we go A through Z really on 96. The Fire Pros.
Iron Slam
96. And then also that random one for the Xbox Live where your little me icons, whatever they're called.
Oh, yeah, that was another game. Didn't know how we were going to end up playing it. Wound up finding a way.
What a departure, though, from this. I'm glad.
Very, very different experience.
I mean, in Human and whoever else, Spike Chun said, they dipped their hands in other types of games as well. They were all over the place. I think we know and we love these like the back of our hand at this point, and it took me a bit to come around. Year one of the podcast, I made some enemies. We got some bad reviews because I rated Fire Pro Wrestling Returns pretty poorly. I just didn't get it. I wasn't into it. And I admit I was wrong because
you hadn't spent enough time with it. I was confident, and I think I even said back then, I think as time goes on and you understand the mechanics a little more, I felt like it was right up your alley.
Nothing clicked until we played that old Joshi game. And something with the timing, and I was like, okay, this is actually kind of fun. And that's when I went back, and I think Fire Pro Wrestling World was on the PlayStation Store for like $5.99 or something. So that's when I got that, the New Japan pack, and I was like, okay, this is kind of fun. That's when I had fun with making the rings. I made the GameCube ring and all that.
And didn't you buy it again on...
I have it on Steam too,
on Steam, yeah.
But I don't have any of the DLC, so I just kind of downloaded.
Steam summer sale, man.
Everyone,
wait for that. All that DLC goes on sale.
Yeah,
it ends up being like
so I'm probably just
$5 or $10 for the whole thing.
I did play it on keyboard and mouse once from work, and it was a time. It was a time.
Oh man. Well, is there anything else that you think that we need to cover about the graphics of the game? Anything that we didn't touch on presentation-wise?
Well, the menu screen, like the character select screen, was pretty cool. Full-on illustrations of the wrestlers. And you thought they looked familiar, and we looked, and it's similar to the next few Fire Pro Wrestling games as well, because they don't use real pictures, because no one in this game is ever real in any Fire Pro game until we got the New Japan license. So,
and it kind of, they're not one-to-one for what the art style for the character renders versus how they look in the actual match, but they're not.
See, some of them, I think I can't even say some of them. Just the Road Warriors were terrible.
The color palettes are off. Like, for an example, Stan Hansen has blonde hair in his render, and then in the match, he's just got regular, brown or black hair.
But you know what? They have colorful gear, colorful boots. You could see the face paint, the blood.
Yeah.
Look at WCW wrestling from then. Sting has just like a black bat on his face, it looks like, and everybody's wearing tights.
Yeah.
That's it. So, again, limitations on the NES, but
I'd say it's there are some aspects of certain games from this time that are really great, and there are certain aspects from other games that, one may be lacking in that the other one does really well, and vice versa.
Yeah, well, did you know? Did you know this game introduced the now famous timing-based grapple system where success depends on precise button timing rather than button mashing?
Did you know each wrestler has a unique chiptune entrance that loosely is inspired by their real wrestling theme?
Did you know this game is on eBay from $6 to $15 used? There is no, I couldn't find anything on a graded copy, a new copy. It was pretty much, this is it. They're all used. They're in good condition. That's it. But, George, with that, I think it's time we sit back and we take a load off.
Oh, okay.
It's time for some R&R. It's time for some ratings and reviews. Now, 1989, a game from Japan. We don't have many ratings here. We don't have the typical publications we're used to, but we do have the Game FAQ user rating, and the playability score gets a 2.5 out of 5, the difficulty 3 out of 5, just right, and the length of hours played is a 2 out of 5 with 47 hours on record. So I guess it's run of the mill. I guess to go back and play this game for some people after playing Fire Pro World and Returns and all that is just not going to cut it. But I think we need to figure out the most important rating of them all. How are Johnny and George going to rate the final Fire Pro Wrestling game in our series? Because right now, it's time to rate the game.
The game!
All right, Johnny Clash, Fire Pro Wrestling, combination tag. Are you going to give it a play it forever? Or a future endeavor?
I'm going to use this moment here to right my wrongs of the past.
Wow.
I'm going to dedicate this right here to every Fire Pro Wrestling game I've put in the graveyard over the past 5.5 years. And I'm going to say the very first Fire Pro Wrestling game, you get a future... No, I'm kidding. A play it forever.
Hell yes.
I would even go as far as saying if this podcast went longer in the next few years, I would consider this game as one of my Hall of Fame picks. Just because it's the first, it still plays well.
Yeah.
Everything you know and love is still in there. We had fun playing it together. I'm sure running through the 5-on-5 elimination and all that, playing some singles matches, going through the roster would be just as fun as on my own. So, play forever from Johnny.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I'm right there with you, man.
It's the last one. You're gonna keep it short and sweet.
No,
I had the lullaby music ready to go.
No, it's I agree with you for all the same reasons. It's, it sets the foundation for a game series that we have covered, like we mentioned, a lot on this podcast, and to kind of see where all of it started and how there are so many mechanics that are present in the first version that are, still at their core present in the current version, or the most current version, is cool. And it holds up fairly well, all things considered. So yeah, a double play it forever for the last Fire Pro Wrestling game that we will be playing on the podcast. What is that, John? A double piff?
Double piff, baby. Could it be the last double piff? Nobody knows.
I don't know.
We'll know in a few weeks.
We announced what the last couple of games are, and I feel fairly confident about the last two.
Yeah. All right.
But, well, with that, ready to get into this week's soft lock question?
I'm ready.
All right, the soft lock question is when one of our Mega Marks asks us a question, gives us a topic to debate. It's a question of the week with a fancy name. This time, the question comes from our buddy Tecker. Tecker's question is there any series or game that you are disappointed you won't get to cover as the show wraps up?
Damn, that's a good question.
That's a really good question. Well,
Right off the bat, Ultra Pro Wrestling.
I was just going to say Ultra Pro Wrestling for sure. Just in the sense of, you know, we've been following it since the beginning. We are, very, communicative on social with some of the team over there.
We were giving updates weekly for a while there.
Yeah. And yeah, that for sure is, definitely something that we're going to check out when it comes out, regardless of whether the podcast is going or not.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure at some point, one way or another, we'll talk about it somewhere.
Yeah. They're still posting videos on YouTube. It's not ready yet, but
oh yeah,
what they're posting looks so good. It's only been 2 years since release, so it's not that bad. It's not that great, but it's not that bad. It's a small operation. I think that leads me to my other one, which is the Wrestling Code.
I honestly, I agree. I want to see how a game that has been in development and announced with so many different wrestlers and so much content, I am very interested to see how that plays out.
Like, I'm looking here. This is a huge roster, but there's there's over 100 right now. It's crazy to me what the game's finally going to be like, because if you remember, Impact was supposed to be featured in there. They pulled all their wrestlers. I know of some other people who were pulled out of the game. On top of, think of like Anthony Green. He was just indie guy Anthony Green when he signed in this game. Then he was August Gray in NXT. Then he was released. Then he went to AEW for a bit, Ring of Honor. Then he went to All Japan, or he went to Japan, not All Japan. He went to Japan. Now he's back in MLW. That's someone who went through a lot of changes. So what's the final gear going to look like for him? What's his final scan going to look like?
Yeah, like what version of him? Yeah.
Bear Bronson's in the game. He's also been through a lot of changes. I don't know. I'm very curious to see what the final game is going to look like. I think there's a lot of people on this roster also who don't wrestle anymore, or some who have even passed. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. See what happens for sure.
And that was me being nice.
What about games from the list that we won't be able to play?
Hey, let's pull it up right now.
So I'm looking at it right now. There's a lot of arcade games that we never got around to play.
Yeah, okay.
Which, we've covered a fair share of them, but there are some that I was like, oh, even some that I found more recently that I was like, oh, this isn't on the list. That's add that one there. And then obviously wrapping up the big series, like everything, all the other, the few Fire Pro games that are left, the New Japan Pro Wrestling games, there's so many. There's all the booking games and the wrestling sim games. There's so many that we won't be able to get into. But I think for me, not being able to wrap up the series that we've invested, a lot of time into playing a lengthy amount of the series, to not be able to put a bow on those like we got to do with SmackDown vs. Raw, that we got to do with all the WCW games.
Well, I think, what 2K games haven't we played? Did we cover them all?
We did 15. We did 18. We are going to do 13 next week. I guess the only one technically we're not reviewing WWE wise. You're asking just about the 2K?
Yeah, just 2K.
We covered all the 2K.
Okay. We did 12 and 13. We did all of the SmackDown versus
we just
Raws,
did do
all
25.
the SmackDowns. I mean, I think, like I said a few weeks ago when we made our announcement, I think where we're at now is a perfect place to put a bow on this and use it as just like a history of wrestling video games. It's going to live forever, and everything is going to be there. Like everything respectable will be there up until this point. So I think that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
I think I would have liked to do more of the history ofs. That was kind of like a little passion thing we started, and
that was fun.
Turned
that
into
was
something
a lot of
really
fun.
cool. We could have even gone further. The history of WrestleMania in games. We did the RKO. I would have liked to do more moves. Maybe like the FU attitude adjustment or something.
Yeah,
or
I mean, even the pedigree and all the variations
pedigree.
of the pedigree and the stunner. Yeah, that's
there was one game that had like 5 pedigrees. So
yeah, I think like that's a really good question, and there's that could be answered in a lot of different ways, from series that we created, like the history of and the best and worsts, but games that we won't be able to cover on the podcast, like ones that are coming out soon. Yeah, and then I felt like I cut you off. What were you going to say?
No, I think I was thinking about the history of wrestling, like the video game histories of. I thought there were some cool ones there that people didn't realize how many games people are in. I would have loved to do Liger. RVD was a cool one because he's been in Legends of Wrestling, ECW, WWE games. So I don't know. There's a lot that we could have done, but I'm happy with where we're at. So
I'll say there's a lot that we could have done, but we did a lot.
Yeah. Pretty cool. But
all right. Thank you very much for that question, Tecker. But John, next week on the pod, we announced the final couple episodes a few weeks ago, and next week we will be playing WWE 13.
All right. I have a lot of memories of this one, so.
As do I. Well, we hope that you will join us for WWE, not 2K13, just WWE 13. And as always, you can check out all the video content available for the podcast over at youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast. We have our playthrough videos, unboxings, and a whole lot more. There's 5.5 years worth of content on there. Podexchange.shop for all of our exclusive merchandise. ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod for our shirts. At GameMarksPod on all forms of social media. And please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And we talked about it at the beginning of the podcast. We're going to do it one more time. Make sure to check out twitch.tv/JohnnyFNClash and youtube.com/JohnnyClash for all things Johnny Clash. Johnny Clash. And that's going to do it, guys. Whenever you're ready, sir, do that thing. Game over. Marks.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the clash at the feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.